Hello everyone and welcome back to Direwolf20's Let's Play. This will be episode 29, and in today's episode there's a couple things I want to get started on, so let's get cooking. The first thing I want to do is correct an error that someone pointed out in my previous Let's Play that I made. I forgot about one aspect of that nuclear bunker that I made. So let me compress that stuff there, and I'll pretty much be using these guys to make my reinforced stone. So let me get cooking on that and I'll be outside in a moment. Okay, so got my advanced alloy here, gonna build some of those little blocks for me at the moment. There's my reinforced stone, lovely. And I'm gonna head back out to my reactor again. I did not put reinforced stone on the floor of my building. So what's that mean? If this reactor were to blow up, which I'm really not planning on it blowing up, I was just kind of building this to show you guys what reinforced stone looks like and how it works. But if my reactor were to blow up, it would blow a hole straight down into the floor. However, because I didn't put a reinforced stone block here, there's a problem. Yeah, much better. Basically because I hadn't had a reinforced stone block there. There we go. This door would have easily been knocked off, like you just saw happen, and the explosion would shoot out this way, straight towards my base, which would not be cool. So, yeah, definitely wanted to resolve my issue with that. Right now, if this reactor blows up, it'll just shoot a hole straight down into the floor, and there might be a little damage outside here, but hopefully it won't reach my base. I honestly don't know. It probably depends on the size of the explosion, which I believe I mentioned is dependent on how much uranium you have in your reactor. You'll also notice I do not have my reactor running at the moment. Why not, Direwolf? Good question. I want to build a couple more of these reactor components. I want to have a full 6-hull reactor. So I'm probably going to build 2 more of these reactor pieces at some point in this episode, attach them to the reactor, and have a new version of the reactor that I want to implement. Again, from that same forum post that I linked in last night's video. So, one more thing that someone corrected me on my forum posts is this water out on the outer edge here does not affect the reactor. Only the source blocks, or the water blocks around the reactor itself, the center block here, affect it. And what happens is air cools the reactor by 1/4 heat per tick, water cools it by 1 heat per tick, and these extra reactor guys here cool it by 2 heats per tick. So only water around the immediate area will cool off this reactor, and you know, not this external water farther away on the side. Like having water on the left side of this block here is not doing anything for me. But that's okay. I don't really feel like changing my reactor design room. So that's just some corrections on, like I said, reactors confuse the heck out of me, and I don't know what I'm doing with them for the most part. So, I will be upgrading this reactor at some point. But enough chit-chatting from me. Why don't I get started? I do want to go outside and check on my quarry here. So let's go for a little bit of a run. This guy's doing well, but it looks like he's stopped. He needs some more oil. So I'll start the pumping. Somebody did mention that this connection here is, you know, goofy. I didn't notice this when I was building this last night, but this pipe does connect to this combustion engine. I don't think that's an issue. It shouldn't be. Yeah, it looks like I've gotten a significant amount of items in this little alchemical chest here. I think what would happen is the items come through here and they could go either direction, but since the immediate left of this split block is the combustion engine and it can't have an input, and I don't know how I got... Oh, I guess it did. Alright, that makes sense. I'm sitting here saying, like, how is there dirt in here? Yeah, it did feed into this guy. So I was thinking that you couldn't feed into it, but obviously you can feed into it. You can feed into it in that spot. So why don't I just move this cobblestone pipe right here and take that stack of dirt away and drop it in here. Excellent. So, little corrections and errors I made because I was busy chit-chatting while I was building. You can see oil pumping in right now. I am, like I said, low on oil. During last night's episode, I did go around looking for oil, but the part with the nuclear reactors just got too long, and I had to clip the whole section of me looking for oil. It was kind of boring, you didn't miss much. I found a small patch of oil that I just picked up in buckets, and wound up sticking that right in here. So I found a very small amount of oil while I was looking last night. And again, that was cut from the video because the video was almost 40 minutes long. With that being cut out, it would have been almost an hour long if I hadn't cut that, and I felt it was kind of boring. So that's the updates. Without further ado, I'm going to get started on doing something. Okay guys, I'm sitting here thinking about what I want to do in today's episode, and there's something that's been kind of nagging at me, and I want to kind of fix it. Right now, if you've been really paying attention to my videos and thinking about what I'm doing, I really have two completely separate power generation systems. I have this nice solar farm here, and underneath this solar farm, I have this nice geothermal generator set up. And I could expand these geothermal generators and do all kinds of cool stuff with them. You know, I could have like 10 geothermal generators here and feeding tons of redstone in and producing all kinds of energy, and that would be awesome. But I really don't have anywhere to put it and anything to do with it. Meanwhile, I've got on the other side of my house this awesome little setup, which is my nuclear reactor, which I do want to utilize at some point and actually produce significant amounts of energy from. And I've got this little miniature solar flower here, this just one solar flower that's, you know, doing a nice little job of... Originally his design was to kind of feed my mass generator. So I really have two completely separate systems that are in no way linked and are in no way helping each other. So I'm thinking I'd like to link them up. So how am I going to do this? Well, there's a couple ideas I have, and I'm kind of formulating them. I'm thinking I want to dig underneath my house and just run some wire between these two systems to connect them. And I also want to have it set up so that this room here only has one MFE in it, so or the MFSU. So my little room here with all my induction furnaces and macerators, these guys don't use a ton of electricity, and 2 MFSUs is really kind of overkill. So I'm thinking I'm going to get rid of this one, put him underneath my house, maybe in the halfway point, and kind of feed him directly from these two flowers, the 4 flowers and the 2 geothermal generators. There's a person on the Industrial Craft forums who basically came up with a little circuit design so that you don't waste your energy. So that, you know, energy coming in. Remember I showed you in last night's episode that when this MFSU is full, it's going to continuously leach power into this mass fabricator? Well, there's the other problem, is the only thing that's really generating this extra surplus power for me is that one solar flower. And I've got all these other solar flowers that are not feeding that mass fabricator. And my geothermal generators are not feeding the mass fabricator. So I want to remedy that. So that's what I'm going to work on in today's episode. So I'll be back shortly once I have some resources to deal with. So the first thing I'm going to need is some more of this fiber optic cable. And hey look, my little diamond farm here is doing great. So I'm going to steal some of those diamonds. I'm not sure if I'm going to use all 32 of them to be exact. Ooh, I need more glass. Let me go get some more sand and melt it into some glass. I'm also going to need a little bit more redstone, which is fine because I can convert my glowstone directly into redstone. So why don't I go gather some glass? You can see my proposed method for getting glass. And I'm going to go take care of that now, and I'll be back. Okay, I feel like that's a sufficient amount of glass. Now let's get myself some redstone. That should be good. Definitely don't need this much redstone, but let's try. That should be good for now. Might be a little bit of overkill, might need more, no idea. And I'll deposit my diamonds here. Let's go make it daytime. I hate doing stuff at night. YouTube and darkness do not mix. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is run outside here. Look at my awesome forest. Sorry, forest, I need to borrow a component. Steal back my MFSU, sorry. And that's going to be used maybe temporarily, maybe permanently in my design here. So the first thing I'm going to do here is knock off this cable. and put one like so. Okay, so now this guy is basically removed from the system, and you can see he's actually draining a little bit of power. What's happening to him is he's feeding into this guy, and he's supplying energy to a couple different little machines, like my induction furnaces and whatnot. So that's all well and good. Now I'm going to go outside and start digging a little bit under my house. Okay, now I'm going to start digging underneath my house a little bit, and I want to head in that general direction. So I'm just going to head downwards, and I'm going to start digging in that direction. I'm going to go one more block down, I think. And yeah, no, I'm peeking into my little room here. Looks like there's a duck or a chicken, depending on what you think that animal is. I don't think anybody officially knows. I'm going to start digging down here, so let's do that. Okay, that looks pretty good. I've now made my way, and you guys can probably saw that I fell pretty far back there. That's alright, I'll live. So this is kind of a path between my two systems. It's a little haphazard, I'll admit, but that's okay. So the next thing I want to do is start running a wire. And what do I want to wire? Well, right now, I want to adjust the output block on this MFSU. Okay? Now he's outputting, and he's going to come out this way. And I'm going to drop down my MFSU right here. Why not? And I'll have the output block facing this direction. And this guy should immediately start filling up. And all the energy that's stored in that MFSU out there is going to be dumped straight into this guy. Almost 1 million. The next thing I want to do, I have a lever. I'm going to activate that lever. So now this MFSU will not emit power unless it's full. That's an important distinction to pay attention to. So let's continue our piping here. Okay. Okay. So I've now bridged my two gaps. My two power systems are right next to each other. Alright, so I do want some form of an access hatch to get under here and be able to manipulate this if I need to, but ideally I should never have to come back under here once this is all properly set up. Run this guy straight up, like so. Okay, that looks cool. So basically what's going to happen now is any excess power from that MFSU down here, once it's full, so right now there's no energy flowing through this cable. And I should grab my EU reader. Let me grab it real quick. Okay, so I grabbed an EU reader here. This guy should read about 512, give or take some. Yep, 512, so no energy loss. None at all. Beautiful. This guy should be reading 0. Why is that? Because I have a redstone current applied, and this guy is not full. Once he is full, any excess power that's flowing through this cable is going to go straight over and up this line. It's going to merge with the power coming from my nuclear generator and the power coming from this solar panel and get dumped straight into this MFSU. This MFSU will then feed power into my mass fabricator. So now I've pretty much set it up so that any extra energy that I'm creating, be it nuclear, solar, geothermal, whatever, is all finding its way into this mass fabricator. But that's only extra energy. Any machines or whatever are going to draw from the MFSU in my machine room. And that will always take priority for filling up. So this guy will always be a priority. Once this is empty, we'll move on to our next step. Okay, look at that. Good timing. This guy is just wrapping up. He's got about 100,000 units of energy left. And I'm going to knock him off the wall. And there we go. So, down he comes. Okay. So, at this point, I've only drained that MFSU. I haven't actually connected it to my power system. So let's run downstairs. Obviously, there's 0 energy per second flowing through this because there's nothing connected to it. There should also be 0 energy per second flowing through this because this guy's redstoned. And he's pretty high on the energy usage, but he's not receiving any excess power at the moment. So let's remedy that. Beautiful. Now I can put my dirt blocks back on top real quick. How nice is that? So what we basically have is a split. This MFE is sending power both up and up here and down, but because of the way the power system works in Industrial Craft 2, this energy line up here should really only be drawing about 2 energy per second. Let's see if that's the case. Yes, 2.2. 4, 3.76, 2. Okay, I waited a long time. Let's click now. Yeah, 3.5. There might be a small amount of energy loss, maybe 1 energy unit per tick being lost because of the extra length of the cable now. Now what's going down this direction is 101 energy units. Wow, that's cool. So what's going on here? Okay, so I'm doing a test real quick, and I want you guys to observe this test. That MFSU that I knocked out of my machine room, I put right here, with the output facing this direction. So I'm kind of intercepting this wire, and this will tell me if there's actually energy loss going on, because when I reconnect this cable here, right now there's 0 going through it, obviously. When I reconnect this cable, we should have 128 going through the wire, and what I'm expecting to see happen is about 2 going up into this direction to power my induction furnaces and keep them going. And the remaining of the 128, the 126, should be going down into that MFSU down in the basement that I just added. So let's see what happens. The measurement here, give it a little bit of time. Oh, you know what? It needed to go and refill the MFSU in the room. The MFSU was draining while it was disconnected there for a moment. So yeah, I'm hovering around 3 again. Let's go down here. What am I getting? 121-ish. 120. Not too shabby. Let me look into this a little bit more. So I've moved this MFSU a little bit closer now, trying to shorten the distance, and I want to see if there is a difference in the energy transmission. So again, this is just me testing a little bit with the way all this cool stuff works. So I'm going to let this guy refill. Okay, this is looking a little bit more like what I expected. There, 2 energy units per tick. That's what I expected to see going through this wire. So that 3 was because we had a little bit of energy loss, and it had to send more energy through, so that 2 arrives at the end, it had to send 3. Now what's going through this cable? that's looking pretty good. 123-ish, 124. Not too shabby. Okay, going through this cable. Is 124. The same amount that's coming in through this one. So, remember, we want to wait a little bit of time between averages. I'm a little click happy here because I hate making you guys wait in between clicks. So yeah, we're hanging around 123 and a half. If I come measure up here, we should be sitting pretty close to that same number. 126-ish. So yeah, it's probably just fluctuating a little bit due to power use. Okay. Now if I measure this guy, where am I sitting at? Give it a good long wait. 123 again. So there doesn't seem to be much in the way of power loss going through these guys. And again, there's a little bit of energy fluctuations because of the way the induction furnaces are using this power. So let's hop out here, and things are looking pretty good. So let me go sleep through the night. So to recap, my solar farm here is generating electricity, as is the geothermal generators underground when I put redstone into them, and they're feeding this energy over to this MFE. Everything collects into this MFE, which then outputs its energy straight over, and it will fill evenly the following two items. This MFE, this MFSU, when it needs power, currently it's full, so most of the energy is flowing down here into this MFSU, which will then automatically send its power to this MFSU, which will only emit power when it's full. That power goes all the way back here, adds up with this solar collector and my nuclear power to power this MFSU again, which only emits power when it's full, and creating UU matter. And you can see I'm slowly but surely turning all my extra energy into UU matter. However, if I need this energy for anything, it's not going to get used up. Now, the only other machines that are going to use power are the machines in this room. I've got my macerators, which use, 1 or 2 energies per tick, and these induction furnaces that don't use a whole lot. I've currently got 10 million units of extra power, so I'm not really in fear of running out of electricity at this point. I'm pretty much guaranteed to be fine for my energy in this room, and any extra energy I create will go towards my mass fabricator, so that's cool. At some point I should probably upgrade this block here from an MFE to an MFSU, just so it can handle more than 128 units of energy per tick. That's if I really want to expand my geothermal generators downstairs. I should also do the same with my with my nuclear power. Because if I ever want to emit more than 128 units of nuclear energy out here, my MFEs that are currently standing as my placeholders along this pipe are not going to be able to handle outputting as much as comes in from my nuclear reactor. Again, if it's more than 128. So I think that's pretty successful. So one more thing I want to change in this system. This MFSU is sitting here full of 10 million units of energy, and the one up in my mass fabricator room is also sitting there full with 10 million units of energy. And there's really no reason, this guy's full, and I could flip the switch and just immediately drain this guy and create a bunch of mass, but I would like to keep him full so that when I want to create mass quickly using scrap, I can use this power that's reserved here. This is going to basically be my scrap reserve. So let this guy constantly create UU matter out of excess energy, but if I want to go drop scrap in this machine, then hey, great, I can flip the switch, get some extra output of power from what's reserved here, that's great. I don't need 2 power reserves, so I'm actually going to go flip this switch off and let the 10 million units of energy that are just kind of sitting here wasted at the moment all drain out. And there it goes. Draining, draining, draining. And that's going to quickly create a couple more pieces of UU matter for me. It's basically 10 million units of energy that I don't need in reserves. And that's what's happening now. So I will get some more UU matter, and that'll be nice. So So let's seal up this wall once more. And this guy's going to progress right along. And if I measure this current, it should be sitting at 512. Perfect. 512 is coming in from the MFSU in the basement. It's all excess for this guy. And so you can see there's a measurement of power in this of 124. I guess, I don't know how measuring an actual MFSU works. I guess it's doubling it. And then 512, the excess coming in from the basement is going straight into this guy. And once that MFSU is drained in the basement, the only power flowing through here will be any excess from my solar array, geothermal, and nuclear power plants. So, I think we've done a pretty nice job here. We will never again have energy loss, regardless of how much energy we put into the system. I can make as many geothermal generators as I want. The only thing that would be an issue is if I start generating more than 512 units of energy consistently, then I'm going to want to do something else. But I don't really see myself getting that crazy. Okay guys, before I wrap up this episode, there's one more item I want to show you here. This is another item like the thermometer that does not come with Industrial Craft Standard. It's an item that was added by one of the Industrial Craft developers called Drashian. I'm pronouncing your name right, buddy. D-R-A-S-H-I-A-N, and it's found on the Industrial Craft forums. This is another add-on. Like the thermometer, it doesn't come standard. So I'm going to build this guy real quick. It's a neat little device that I kind of like the concepts of. So, let's throw down this good stuff. Make ourselves an electric circuit. Then we're going to upgrade this guy, of course, to an advanced circuit. There are 3 tiers of this item. I'm building the top tier because, you know, just like energy, there's 3 tiers of energy. Now I need to convert some iron into some high voltage cable. I haven't featured high voltage cable yet. This cable basically, you've seen all the other cables transmit in units up to 512 energy units. High voltage can transmit at 2000 energy units, so if you want to transmit stuff over a long distance with small amounts of energy loss, high voltage is kind of the way to go. Like, really long distance. But that's a component of this design. 3 high voltage cables along the top, and I get this item, a charging bench. This thing is pretty nifty, actually. So let's snag some cable. And my machine room is getting a little crowded. I could put this bench wherever I want. I could put it in here and have it feed off of this MFSU, but I'm actually going to go into this room back here, my mass generator, and have it feed off of this MFSU. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to run this guy here this way and drop off my charging bench, and that's cool. The charging bench does almost exactly what it sounds like it would do. It's a bench that charges your items for you. So I've got a bunch of low-powered items here. I could go drop them all one at a time into an MFSU and have them charge up. Wait for this guy to charge for a minute or two and then take him out. Wait for this guy to charge for a minute or two and take him out. Nope, don't want to do that. So let's actually... I'm going to break this cable. I do need to do something about this, actually. This isn't going to be a good setup in this room, but I'm just featuring this item. I can always relocate it later. I can put all my items in here. Anything that needs to get a charge. Hey, let's even put my electric jet back in. Sure, why not? Flip the switch, just so it drains as much as it can. It should be cooking right along here. No energy. Alright, well it charged most of my items there. You can see all this stuff charged nice and quick. Those are different tiers of items, so let me take these guys out here, and now what's happening? Are these guys charging or no? Well, it charged most of my stuff. Maybe it can't charge the quantum suit boots? Let me look that up real quick. Okay, so it may not be able to charge the quantum suit. I'm going to have to post that on the forum and see if that's intended or not. But what is nice is, I just drained some stuff again. It will charge things simultaneously. So you can see my jetpack and my nano saber all got charged up pretty quickly because they have a small amount of energy reserve. And my laser is charging, and you can see some energy flowing through the cable here, charging up my laser. Decent amount. So again, this is an add-on to Industrial Craft. It's pretty neat, and it basically lets you charge a bunch of items at once. Not sure why it's not charging the quantum suit. I would have expected it to. Well, it is drawing more power now that I put the quantum suit in. So maybe it does charge it. If I flick my lever on. So, yeah, filled up my mining laser. Is it actually charging these guys now? Okay, so I'm going to leave my quantum suit in there. I don't know if it charges it or not. It doesn't seem to be charging the quantum suit armor, and that's fine. I can just stick that into my MFSU. But, yep, just wanted to feature that little item. It looked pretty cool. Well, guys, that feels like a good wrapping up point. So this has been episode 29. Hope you enjoyed it. Maybe next episode I'll get to finishing up that nuclear reactor. But no promises. It's episode 30. Maybe I should do something extra cool. Not sure what, though, yet. So I will see you guys next time.